Welcome to 99th Monkey Liberty News for Friday, April 4th, 2014. The first article that I have this morning is meant as a cautionary tale, I think, from the Washington Free Beacon. I saw this tweet from Drudge, and I came to this site. Russian ambassadors discuss invading Miami and California in leaked call. I'm presenting this as kind of a cautionary tale because we're so anxious, all of us, to get the real, deep, true news, what's really happening. I think sometimes we might go a little too far. I did not listen to the audio here, but I read through the exchange, the text, and my take on this is these guys were joking with one another. Yes, there are Freudian slips, and everything that we say means something. But I don't think that, if somebody says something in jest, I don't think that we need to have our finger on the panic button about it. I think it's crucial to constantly exercise discernment and try to determine what is really significant and what's not. And I personally am placing this in the not significant category because I really think they were jesting with one another. Consider some of the things you may have said in jest in phone conversations with friends. And not to be taken seriously, I would say. Here from the Daily Caller, good lat to Obama. Let's make an immigration deal, but not yet. So the Republicans are behind the scenes working toward a deal about immigration. And the first paragraph here is, Republican Virginia Rep. Bob Goodlatte slammed the White House's lax enforcement of immigration laws Thursday, but suggested that the Republican leadership wants a deal that would provide companies with more workers and would also allow younger illegal immigrants to stay in the country. So, whatever bluster there is from the Republicans publicly, they are behind the scenes working toward the same goals as the Democrats. And I have another article about immigration here, about illegals. From Los Angeles Times, high deportation figures are misleading. And I'll just read this. Washington immigration activists have sharply criticized President Obama for a rising volume of deportations, labeling him the deporter-in-chief, and staging large protests that have harmed his standing with some Latinos, a key group of voters for Democrats. But the portrait of a steadily increasing number of deportations rests on statistics that conceal almost as much as they disclose. A closer examination shows that immigrants living illegally in most of the continental U.S. are less likely to be deported today than before Obama came to office, according to immigration data. So, spin. The reality is that not many illegal immigrants are being deported. And I'm not picking on immigrants or illegals even. This is just a reality. They are a tremendous burden on our already stretched to the max resources in the U.S. And as Alex Jones frequently says, and I happen to agree with, these people tend to have more of a slave mentality because of how the government in Mexico is run, and they are less likely to demand the rights that are guaranteed us by the Bill of Rights. So it tends to weaken our nation, not because they're weak people, but because their paradigm is more one of being subservient to government. I have a couple articles from Zero Hedge about the Turkey-Syria leak. Now, I had the balance of the Russian phone call. When there is, it's really important to be able to recognize what is significant here. And I partly believe that Russian phone call about Miami and California invasions was put out there intentionally to confuse people and diminish the significance of some of these issues that are more of a true threat to freedom and to peace. From Zero Hedge, here is the YouTube Start a False Flag War with Syria leaked recording that Erdogan wanted banned. And you probably heard that Turkey blocked YouTube access, and Turkish Prime Minister Erdogan had blocked Twitter access to his nation. And they're leading up to elections in Turkey. So they did not want the people in Turkey to become aware of this. And this is very significant. This isn't some phone call, joke, jest statement. This was something that was being seriously considered / planned. And another article from Zero Hedge on the same topic, why Turkey was planning a false flag operation in Syria. And the author of this article writes, this is a big deal because Turkish troops in Syria opens the door to NATO troops in Syria, which drastically expands the conflict. See, these people are pushing the military-industrial complex, for lack of a better phrase. I mean, there are a lot of terms I could use. They are pushing so hard toward war that they really are just trying to play every war card in the deck, I think. They are desperately trying to start a war, and they're pushing on, the Russia issue. They're pushing on the Syria issue here, and it's ugly. And we need to pray and pray for peace. And certainly, if anyone who is so inclined, get in touch with representatives to government in the U.S. and let them know that continually let them know that we do not want to become involved as a country in any new war, especially these trumped up ones and ones where people are forcing themselves and their ideals on other people groups. Here is another article about false flag. I'm taking this with a grain of salt, but I found it interesting enough to include. This is from a website called Stage 2 Omega. False flag exposed. Job listing for role players posted to Craigslist 22 days ago for a military mock simulated disaster drill at Fort Hood. And they have an image of the Craigslist ad here. Again, it looks genuine, but anybody who has ever worked with Photoshop knows it would not really be too difficult to fake something like this. But I'm sure this could be verified, and the ad has been removed from Craigslist now, but they actually have the number from Craigslist from when it was supposedly posted. The dates here are, the exercise was to be March 17th, 18th, and 19th. So, of course, the date doesn't line up with the shooting at Fort Hood. But as people who watch this sort of thing are known to say, uh, be careful whenever there's a drill planned. Be careful. And this is definitely, I think, worth note, worth mention. From RT, billionaire George Soros behind major push for marijuana legalization. What does this mean? I don't know. And the article doesn't offer any suggestion. It just gives evidence and details about how much money and how it was channeled to fund marijuana legalization. There's definitely a paper trail here, and why would somebody like this man want something that we believe is a move toward freedom and especially greater health freedom? I don't know, but I'm suspicious. My suspicion is not latching on to anything, but I'm suspicious. Not that I don't think marijuana should be legalized. I do. I especially think that hemp needs to be legalized, and hemp really is the big emphasis that can help a lot with revitalizing American agriculture and even industries that will be fueled by producing things made out of hemp. So I'm definitely very hopeful that hemp will widely be legalized, and it's good, I think, for marijuana to be legalized as well, because there are a lot of very valid means for using marijuana to help people recover health. So, got to watch this guy. I would not trust this man any farther than I could throw all of his money if it was put in a sack. That's not very far. From Mercola, I have an article. For whatever reason, this would not load on the Mercola page, so I had to go through Start Page to even get this far. But I will have the link. I think maybe they're updating their website or something at Mercola. But I thought this article was significant. Sleep loss may cause brain damage and accelerate onset of Alzheimer's, 2 new studies show. So just an emphasis on, the natural things that our bodies want to do, like sleep. It's good for us. It's good for us to sleep. And sometimes I think with stress and feeling like we need to accomplish a whole lot, we forget to sleep enough, or we suppress that desire for sleep. And there's actually a Bible verse that says, in vain do you rise early and go late to rest, because God gives to his beloved even in their sleep. So we don't need to control absolutely everything. We can trust God and go to sleep when it's time to sleep. For the good news of the day, I am going to scroll through the 10th Amendment Center 10th blog home. I was looking for something specific, but when I came here, I saw all these. I just decided to scroll through because there's some great stuff here. Minnesota senator introduces bill to nullify federal gun control. Utah governor signs bill to restrict drone use. Missouri Senate passes bill to protect electronic data and communications. And there's so much activity here, very positive activity the states are engaging in. Missouri House votes to nullify all federal gun control measures. Minnesota legislature considering Liberty Preservation Act against NDAA, and it goes on and on here. This is a great site to visit, and whatever state you live in, you can find movements in your state and become involved if you so desire. And there's been some more talk recently about a constitutional convention. I've mentioned Karen Hudis's emphasis on that, and Alex Jones had a guest yesterday who's a constitutional scholar, and they were discussing that to some extent. I'll just throw in this link because it really was a very interesting interview. Something to think about over the weekend in the times when you're awake, in between catching up on your sleep. Thank you for tuning in for today's 99th Monkey Liberty News. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Hoping that you will have a peaceful, restful, pleasant weekend, that you will love one another, take care, and enforce the Bill of Rights.